I'm 29 female. My fiancé, 31 male, quietly helped me heal from something I never told him about. This is a story I haven't told anyone, not even him. I don't know if I ever will. But something happened recently that made me want to put it into words, even if it's just for strangers on the internet. Maybe someone else out there has been holding on to something similar. I've been engaged to my fiancé, Josh, for 8 months now. We've been together for 3 years. He's quiet in the ways that matter and loud in the ways that don't. He sings badly in the car. He gets excited about board game nights. He takes forever to explain a joke, but never forgets to open the car door for me. He's kind in the invisible ways, the ones people miss unless they're really paying attention. But this isn't about how wonderful he is, or at least not directly. It's about something that happened last weekend that left me sitting alone in our bathroom at 3 a.m. crying without really knowing why. We were packing up his old apartment. He's finally moving in with me full time, and we were sorting through the last of his things. Most of it was pretty mundane. Boxes of mismatched socks, old extension cords, a toaster we both agreed had seen better days. Then he pulled out a small wooden box. It wasn't fancy, the kind of thing you'd expect to hold old letters or keepsakes. I assumed it was his, but he handed it to me. He said, "I got this for you a while back. I didn't know when to give it to you, but maybe now's the time." Inside were these small slips of paper, dozens of them, each one with something handwritten in his very distinct, almost overly neat writing. They weren't love notes, not exactly. Some were simple encouragements. "You're stronger than you think. This moment will pass." Others were almost prayers. "Whatever hurt you doesn't define you. You are allowed to start over." One just said, "It wasn't your fault." That one hit like a punch to the chest. I didn't say anything right away. I couldn't. He just kissed me on the top of my head and said, "You don't have to read them now. I just wanted you to have them." And then he went back to sorting cables like nothing had happened. Here's what he doesn't know. When I was 24, I was in a relationship that nearly broke me. I won't go into detail. Let's just say it was emotionally manipulative, and I stayed far longer than I should have. He chipped away at me slowly, told me I was too sensitive, too clingy, too much. By the end, I believed him. I walked away, but I didn't leave whole. I've done a lot of healing since then. Therapy, time, faith, learning how to hear my own voice again. But some things stick in places you don't even realize. Quiet lies that curl around your spine and whisper when no one's looking. I never told Josh much about it, just that it ended badly. I never wanted him to see me as someone broken. He never pushed. He never pried. He just held space, like he was waiting for me to feel safe enough. And somehow, without knowing the details, he gave me the exact words I didn't even know I needed. Not grand gestures, just small, quiet truths that felt like they were written by someone who had been listening to my heart, not my mouth. I sat in the bathroom that night, reading every single one of those notes. Some made me smile. Some made me cry in a way that felt clean, like something old was finally moving out of my chest. It wasn't dramatic. He didn't rescue me. He didn't slay any dragons. He just made a little box full of reminders that the things I survived didn't erase the things I still am. That's the thing about love that I've learned. Real love doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it arrives in cardboard boxes, hidden between extension cords. Sometimes it waits patiently for you to open the lid. We're getting married next spring, and if anyone asks why, I could list 1,000 reasons. But the truth is, I knew I wanted to marry him the moment I read that note. It wasn't your fault. It's like a part of me finally believed it, like something sacred passed through that moment and settled me, quietly, gently, the way healing sometimes does when we're not looking. So yeah, that's my story. I don't know what to do with the box now. I've put it in my bedside drawer. Sometimes I take out 1 or 2 notes and hold them like anchors, not because I'm still drowning, but because I'm learning how to sail. My husband left me 3 years ago, and I never expected to find comfort in my quiet neighbor. Hi Reddit. I've never posted here before. I'm a longtime lurker, and I guess I just wanted to put this into words. Not asking for advice, just maybe company and understanding. My name's Pam. I'm 41. I live in a small town in North Carolina, and I've been a widow for almost 3 years. My husband, Marcus, died suddenly of a heart attack one morning while getting ready for work. He was 42. No warning signs, no lingering illness. Just a regular Tuesday, coffee brewing, birds chirping, and then he was gone. We had been married for 16 years. People say grief comes in waves, but for me, it came like a slow leak. For the first year, I felt nothing. I cooked, I worked, I watered the plants. I folded his shirts and put them back in the drawer like he'd wear them again. The second year, I got angry. At God, at the unfairness, at Marcus for dying. I stopped going to church. I avoided friends who talked about miracles and heaven and everything happens for a reason. I didn't want a reason. I wanted him. The third year, something strange happened. It started with the porch light. There's this older man who lives next door, Mr. Beckett. He must be in his 70s, retired school principal. His yard is always trimmed like a golf course, real particular, but polite, not chatty. One night around 10, I noticed my porch light flickering. I ignored it. The next night, the same thing. By the third night, it gave out completely. I was planning to fix it myself over the weekend, but the next evening when I got home from work, the bulb had already been changed. I thought maybe my brother had come by, but when I asked, he said no. I found a small sticky note on the door, something like, "New bulb, no charge. Got a bunch lying around. Mr. Beckett." I smiled for the first time in a while. That little act of kindness somehow opened something. The next weekend, I baked banana bread and left it on his porch with a note. "Thanks for the light." A week later, a bag of homegrown tomatoes showed up at my door. No note, but I knew who they were from. This quiet exchange went on for months. Garden produce, casseroles, the occasional book. No face-to-face chats. Just two people passing kindness back and forth like folded paper boats on a stream. Then came October. It was a Saturday. I was raking leaves in the front yard and my ankle gave out. I heard something pop and I fell hard onto the gravel. I must have shouted because suddenly Mr. Beckett was there. He didn't say anything, just helped me up, walked me inside, and called my brother for me. As we waited, he made tea in my kitchen like he had done it 100 times before. I was too shaken to talk much, and he didn't force it. When my brother came, Mr. Beckett just nodded and left. The next morning, a basket appeared on my porch with a note that said something like, "A sprained ankle is God's way of making sure you sit still. Rest. Be." That made me laugh. I never really saw Mr. Beckett as more than a kind neighbor, but in the weeks that followed, I started to notice things. Not in a romantic way, just human things. He always refilled the bird feeder on the far edge of my fence, even though technically it was mine. He watered the roses when I forgot. He mended the slats on my old gate. Quiet, humble things. One afternoon, he caught me limping back from the mailbox and invited me to sit on his porch. We watched the sky turn orange. Out of nowhere, he said, "Do you know what silence is good for?" I shook my head. "It makes you hear what's really been going on inside." That stayed with me. Over time, we began to talk more. He told me he lost his wife in 2010. He still wore his ring, said she had told him to live well and not hide from the world. I told him about Marcus, about how angry I had been, about how empty everything still felt, even though I smiled more now. He said nothing for a while, then looked at the fading light. "You ever notice how the sun always sets slower when someone's watching it?" I hadn't, but I did now. That winter, I found myself looking forward to our porch conversations. There was nothing complicated about them. He never tried to fix me, never offered advice unless I asked. Sometimes we just sat in the stillness and listened to the wind. One evening in January, I asked him if he believed in signs. He nodded. "I don't think they're always dramatic. I think they're gentle, like someone brushing your sleeve to say, 'Pay attention.'" I asked him if he ever got one. He smiled a little. "Once, after my wife died, I was cleaning out her dresser and found a note I had never seen before. It said, 'If you're reading this, it means I've gone ahead. But don't be afraid. You still have some light left to share.'" I felt something in my chest shift. That night, I dreamed of Marcus for the first time in a year. He didn't say anything, just stood in the doorway of our old kitchen, drinking coffee, looking peaceful. The light in the room was warm and golden. When I woke up, I cried. Not the hollow, angry kind. These tears felt clean, like water finding its way through dry soil. I started going back to church, not for answers, but to sit in the presence of something I couldn't name. I started tending the backyard again, planting basil and thyme, and a stubborn little hydrangea bush. Last month, Mr. Beckett fell while trimming his hedge. Nothing serious, but enough to keep him indoors. So I started bringing him casseroles. And one morning, while I was sweeping his porch, I found a folded note tucked into the doorframe. No envelope, just one line. You brought light back to this house. I don't know what this connection is. I'm not looking to replace Marcus, and I don't think Mr. Beckett is looking for romance. It's something else, something quieter, a kind of healing I didn't know existed. Sometimes when the wind moves through the trees just right, I feel like someone's watching. Not in a spooky way, more like someone keeping vigil, like Grace just outside the frame. I still miss Marcus, I always will, but I think something sacred is happening here. Not flashy, not loud, just two souls, bruised by time, tending each other with simple kindness. Maybe that's the miracle after all.